All right, class, history now.
Our world history class will try to cover all of human history.
History! I love history! Something happens, then later something else happens. So sequential. Thank you, first guy, for writing history down.
But what do we mean by world history?
The world is full of history.
What is history?
History.
All those dates and stuff.
Well, Henry Ford said that history is one darn fact after another. Except he didn't say darn. History is a set of lies agreed upon, is what Napoleon Bonaparte called it, except he said it in French.
Est-ce que tu parles anglais?
Well, our textbook doesn't really give a good description for history, so we'll simply say that history is the written story of us.
We're history.
Prehistory is our story before the invention of writing. But what about before us? Where did we come from? Where did the universe come from? Most cultures and religions have a story of creation, and we will start with the scientific.
Science rules.
The scientific creation story starts with the Big Bang Theory.
Our whole universe was in a hot, dense state. Then nearly 14 billion years ago, expansion started. Wait, the earth began to cool, the autotrophs began to drool, Neanderthals.
Now, how did I know that was going to happen? Let's start over. Since the mid-20th century, scientists believe the universe began with the Big Bang, around 13.7 billion years ago. No one knows exactly why it happened. No one knows what was around before the Big Bang. But scientists believe this was the beginning of everything.
Science!
Over the next 10 billion years or so, as the universe expanded and cooled, atoms formed, and then elements, and gravity did its work, so stars and galaxies formed, and later planets. Over 4.5 billion years ago, our Earth formed. Around that time, a protoplanet slammed into our planet and formed the moon. As our planet cooled, our atmosphere formed and oceans were created. Around 3.8 billion years ago, the earliest forms of life appeared, and then gradually, life forms became more complex. Meanwhile, the Earth's atmosphere became more oxygen-rich, and the sky turned its familiar blue. By 500 million years ago, there was great diversity of life in the Earth's oceans, and soon, fish appeared. Plants were the first to move out of the oceans and onto land. Amphibians were our first ancestors to move onto land. The amphibians evolved into reptiles, and reptiles became dinosaurs, who dominated over the Earth for 160 million years. During the age of the dinosaurs, geologic and fossil evidence shows us that the supercontinent Pangaea began to break apart, and the continents headed to the locations we are used to seeing on a map today. Scientists believe the dinosaurs were taken out around 65 million years ago by an asteroid, leaving our mammal ancestors to get a leg up and become primates, and then hominids, and then roughly 200,000 years ago, modern humans evolved with an anatomy like our own. Our human ancestors spread throughout the world. They adapted to their new environments and even changed those new environments to suit them, so that we have our civilizations of today. Although our story only makes up 200,000 years of the 13.7 billion years since the origin of the universe, it is our story, and it begins in chapter 1.
Our whole universe was in a hot, dense state. Then nearly 14 billion years ago, expansion started. Wait, the earth began to cool, the autotrophs began to drool, Neanderthals developed tools, we built a wall. We built a pyramid.